I would like to thank you for being with us today and for participating to our event. I would like to thank our presenters, our working group and our research group for their contribution. Now I would like to give the floor to our chairwoman, Ms. Aslı, for her presentation. Dear stakeholders of the Ethics and Reputation Association, you are here today for the introduction of the project Business Ethics and ESG's Effect on Reputation. And on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Ethics and Reputation Association, I would like to start by thanking you for honoring us by participating in our event. As the cultures of doing business change rapidly in our now globalized world, concepts such as ethics, reputation, sustainability, and compliance have become more important in today's business world than any other time in history. In the aura of today's business world, it has become unthinkable to take action without including these concepts in decision-making mechanisms. Not only business processes, but also social life has started to be shaped by these values. The risks that organizations that do not give due attention and value to concepts such as ethics, compliance, reputation, and sustainability may face on their journey in the economic world have increased. While the days when the purpose of companies' existence was only to make profit are over, the importance of companies' reputations is increasing day by day. This is where the understanding of staying away from unethical and illegitimate ways and methods becomes indispensable for the actors of the business world. It is an irrefutable fact that companies that lose their reputation have their entire future under mortgage. In this respect, ESG, the environmental, social, and corporate governance criteria, which refers to environmental, social, and governance practices that may have a significant impact on the performance of an investment beyond the role of increasing a company's earnings on behalf of its shareholders, aims to provide investors with a more comprehensive analysis by examining potential non-financial risks and opportunities in addition to traditional financial analysis. Figures also support the importance of this issue. According to a report by the USTIF Foundation, assets selected by investors based on ESG criteria have increased to $17.1 trillion since the beginning of 2020, up to $12 trillion just 2 years ago. In less than 20 years, the ESG movement has grown from a corporate social responsibility initiative launched by the United Nations to a global phenomenon representing more than $30 trillion in assets under management. In 2019 alone, a total of $17.67 billion was invested in ESG-related products, according to U.S. financial services firm Morningstar. What makes the data even more meaningful is that these investments increased by almost 525% compared to 2015. This means that a practice that is slowly becoming indispensable for organizations determined to embark on a journey of ethics, reputation, and compliance is now on our agenda. As the Ethics and Reputation Association, which has been continuing its activities since 2010 to increase the level of awareness on effective management of ethics and compliance risks, honesty, accountability, and transparency, and to make business ethics an integral part of the culture of companies operating in our country, we continue our activities rapidly with our corporate members, which have reached 200 today, each of which has important roles in their own sector. One of the goals of our association is to support the development of companies in the field of business ethics and to transfer the experiences of companies with the best practices to organizations in every corner of our country. And with this potential, we believe that the ESG issue should be insistently emphasized. As the ancient but never outdated saying goes, nothing that cannot be measured can be managed. As an association, we believe that one of the priority studies to be carried out in our country is a situation analysis conducted with the help of scientific methods. In this respect, we first set out to conduct a research to determine the relationship between business ethics and ESG performances of organizations in our country and their corporate reputations. With the responsibility and excitement of being the first of its kind in the international arena, we plan to conduct such a study with two institutions that are very important values in their fields. With the research we conducted through Zenna Consulting and KPMG Turkey, we tried to reveal the connection between business ethics and ESG issues and the characteristics of this connection. I owe it to myself to thank both institutions and their employees once again in the presence of all of you. I think there are issues that we all need to think about and lessons that we need to take from our study, which will be examined in detail by our dear speakers in a little while. For example, when the survey results are evaluated, the fact that only 38% of the survey participants find the performance of the private sector on ESG to be sufficient tells us that we have a long way to go. However, the fact that 74% of the respondents answered the question of what will happen in the future to companies that do not prioritize ESG among their business areas, they will lose both their reputation and their market, gives us hope for the future. We think that our research is a very useful and thought-provoking study to achieve a more ethical future. I would also like to express my gratitude to the members of the Sustainability and ESG Working Group for their strong support, and unique experience in the impact of business ethics and ESG on reputation survey. I also hope that our research will serve as a guide for all actors of the business world and make a great contribution to all sectors. Once again, I would like to thank you, our esteemed guests, for being with us on a very valuable day for us, and extend my regards. Well, thank you, Ms. Chairwoman. Now I would like to invite Mr. Kayra Üçer. He is a member of the board and also is one of the leaders of our working group. Welcome, sir. The floor is yours. Well, thank you. Distinguished Chair, distinguished members of the association, dear stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. Today you are here with us for the introduction of the project of business ethics and ESG's effect on reputation. And I would like to thank you on behalf of our working group for your contribution and participation. As our chairwoman mentioned, since 2010, we have been working in order to increase awareness in business ethics, to also take responsibilities and increase awareness in that area, and also to help businesses to manage risks in these areas. Business ethics is an important subject and is one of the pillars of all businesses in Turkey. And our association has reached 200 members, and together with its working groups, it has contributed to the ecosystem and continues to do so by collecting data and also taking advantage of the experts, and also by providing events and trainings. As you may know, one of the working groups of our association is the Sustainability and ESG working group. And this group has received important contribution from KPMG and Zenna Group, and was able to issue a report that is actually important not only locally but globally. On the other hand, this report will be evaluated by different speakers today, and it will also it has been also prepared by many people from 44 different sectors in our country. So reputation performances, business ethics performances are important subjects of this report, and the measurement of these fields and their relations were also the most important subject of the report. So we have tried to measure the effect of reputation, and 90% of the participants think that businesses who do not give importance to business ethics and reputation will lose their presence. So this gives us hope. And Business ethics, by being integrated with the business world, can actually contribute to all of us. And I would like to thank Mr. Altuğ Özgün, Azra Çakın, Banu Özyalçın, Berna Özdemir, Burcu Tuzcu Ersin, Burçun Emir, Eray Akdağ, İnci Bozukluoğlu, Özlem Mutlu Doğan, Seda Çınlar, Tayfun Zamana, and the secretary of our association for their contribution, and all to all stakeholders who have contributed to us. I will also thank those who are not here. I'm just joking, of course. We can only succeed by working together, and therefore any kind of help or your advice from our stakeholders are most welcome. As the Ethics and Reputation Society, we are going to continue to work enthusiastically. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Mr. Kayra. I would like to also give you a short information. We talked about the working group. You can go on our website and also contact us and the working group. And after the event, we're going to share the necessary information regarding the event and regarding the report and the website. So we will be very happy to see you by our side. In the entrance, you have received the reports. If you haven't received them, please take them. Right now, I would like to invite Ms. Nuran for her presentation. You can also find her presentation on the website and also the report on the website. In the coming days, we will be translating the report into English, and you will find it again in the website. So now I would like to invite the chair of Zena Consulting, Ms. Nuran Akso, who also contributed greatly to our research. Well, good morning, welcome. My name is Nuran Akso. Today, I'm going to share the results of the report. And sometimes, I can just go further than the microphone. Please warn me if I do that. Welcome again. First of all, I would like to say that I am very honored to be a part of this kind of research. For the past 25 years, my expertise was reputation and business ethics, and of course, sustainability or ESG. All of these subjects have been the subjects that I have been working for the past 25 years, and I am really honored to be a part of this report. First of all, I would like to talk about how this report was prepared, when we did that, but how we created this model, because this is the first time that we're using this model. This actually went on for a month and a half, and 145 business representatives attended this online, and the research has three main indexes. What are these indexes? You will also see it, of course. It's a reputation, and next to it you see the ESG performance and business ethics performance. So we have measured, we have analyzed the relations between these three fields. Therefore, we had to have three different indexes. So you can see this is a new model, and there was actually another model that we have been using for the past 20 years, and I was using it too, and it was actually an international benchmark, which was called Redman Reputation and Business Ethics Management. And it actually focused on 7 different dimensions of reputation management, which is recognition, quality management, management quality, employee quality, and also social responsibility. So there are 7 dimensions that we calculated this model on, and just like this, we had to also calculate the results of the ESG and business ethics. So we had to see what pieces made this. So The Turkish Ethics and Reputation Society take the international works as a reference, and there are 7 dimensions, as you see here. ESG is about environmental and social governance. So these 3 main dimensions also have sub-dimensions, which actually define economy or governance. So when we asked this question, we saw that we need a certain criteria. Therefore, the KPMG analyzed tens of articles and found around 6 to 7 criteria. And together, by working on these criteria with the working group, we have created this model. So in a nutshell, the result is an institution's reputation performance, ESG performance, and business ethics performance are important, and we measured the relations between these 3 fields. So are we going to ask whether these are important or not? Of course, this question's reply is important both in Turkey and abroad. So we had to actually ask cross questions, and we needed to make this more concrete. So if you ask the question, is reputation important? Everyone will say yes. But if you ask the question for your own company, or if you ask this question for the companies that you like most, even though they are the companies that you like most, they can actually seem not so successful in certain areas. So this is how we created the model. So who are we going to apply this result to? Yes, we're going to see many results, very valuable results. And for the whole world, there are certain things that look abstract, but they are not abstract. They are very concrete. These are results, quite concrete results that affect the businesses. So before that, who answered these questions? Let's check their characteristics. 51% of the participants are women, and 16% did not want to answer the questions. We see that the average age is around 42, and it is between 35 to 52, the ages of 35 and 52. So we can see that it's quite young for the business world. What about positions here, titles? When we look at these 145 participants, we see that we are usually at the top of the hierarchy, such as CEOs, directors, deputy directors. So we see that mostly they are from the higher positions, and then we see a bit medium positions. So we see that there is a seniority of 17.5 years. So in the past 20 years, we can see that these people have also witnessed many things. So let's look at the sectors. There are 44 sectors. So 44 sectors answered our questions. It was quite of a variety. We wished, we were able to reach around 1,000 businesses. But what I can say that every result, every response we received from each company reflects also Turkey's picture, what's going on in Turkey, really. Okay, let's look at the results now. So firstly, we can see that regarding the business ethics and reputation, we asked the question how important for the businesses are and how enough it is. We asked both the public and the private sector. So we asked how important is the ESG performance for the private sector. We also gave them a scale from 1 to 5. So we wanted to measure this between 0 to 100. So when we look at it from 0 to 100, we see that ESG's importance in private sector is 88%. Likewise, business ethics performance in the private sector is important by 90%. So it is extremely high. This is actually a positive field anyway, and we expected this result. But of course, we have to also compare it to facts. We ask whether the ESG performance is enough and business ethics performance is enough for the private sector. We see that it's around 38%, which is extremely low. We asked them to think about their own company. What about your own company's business ethics and ESG performance? Is it enough? They say it's 65% regarding ESG and 71% regarding business ethics. So for their own company, they give this result. Don't forget this. This is actually valid for the whole world. If one company is successful in one field, they need to receive at least 70%. 70% is the beginning of success. 64% when it comes to performance shows that you do not have the control and your success isn't enough. So you do not have control, you are in an uncontrolled way. But if you are at 65, it means that you are doing everything right. And if you continue to do so, you will be able to reach 70%. So if you think that if your company thinks that it's higher, but then it receives 65%, then that means there's a long way to go. And if we see that the business ethics is 71%, it means that yes, the company is successful and it will continue. If it continues, it will continue to be so. So when we ask about the importance, we see an ESG, women, men, and also age groups. And positions and seniority. When you look at that, I mean, all of the positions, men and women, say that ESG is very important in reaching business targets. When we ask whether the ESG's performance is enough in the private sector, you can see that it's around 30 or 40%. It's quite low. However, here we wanted to show that this actually is 33%. And there are actually differences between stages here. But still, there is actually a common ground where everyone says that ESG is quite weak in the private sector. And when we ask them about their ESG, you can see the result here. So there's a difference between the results of people with less than 35 and over 35. We see that less than 35, we see that women are a bit lower, men are higher. And when you climb the ladder, you see that the first stage management gives a low point. Yes, the total score is 65%. However, if you look at the total score, it can give a wrong impression. You have to look at the sub stages. You have to see whether it's homogeneous. So here we can see that men are more positive. Women are saying we are at the beginning of the journey. The higher people say yes, we are fine, and the middle people say that they have a long way to go. Let's look at business ethics. It's important for business targets. Whether it's women or men, they all say that it's important. Let's look at whether it's enough. And the first ranking, we see that it's a bit lower than the other ranks. And when we ask about whether their company's performance is enough, we see the same result. We see that people over 35 or less than 35 give different answers. They say 68% or 70%. It's not very close by. The 70% is the beginning of success for companies. 68, on the other hand, says that you have a long way to go, and between 68% to 70%, you really need to work. And when we look at the ranking, we see that the highest ranks say 74, but it was in average 71%, and the lower ranks say that we need more way to go. We have more way to go. And our chairman and Kyra mentioned, when we look at this directly, when we ask this question directly, whether business ethics and how business ethics and ESG is related to reputation, everyone says that 3 in 4 experts say the business ethics and ESG subjects are so important that if you do not manage them well, you may lose your reputation and your market. So the message is very important, very clear here. This is not something that is a preference. This needs to be included in the notion of classical management. However, here, in terms of improvement, I would like to get your attention on one thing. You see this yellow part, right? It says it will lose its reputation but not its market. The blue says, on the other hand, it will not lose neither its reputation nor its market. So in the business ethics, 16% say that if I do not prioritize ESG and business ethics, I will not lose money. I may lose reputation. But not money. So if you are actually accountable based on finances and for your company, which is very important for the survival of the company, then, there are around 1 in 5 managers that says, these are secondary. So we're talking about 27% in 150 managers, and we're talking about the managers of the most important companies in Turkey. Look at it now. The companies that do not give importance to ESG would lose their reputation but not market. You can see that these groups, 23% or 15% that says this, in total, show that 42 managers or directors say I will not lose any markets. So as long as we do not leave this concept behind, the bad examples will slow down the good examples. Therefore, we must highlight the importance of this and show the statistics here. We see the same subject in business ethics. The medium and high ranking people who actually sign the deals, say that it's not that important. But the medium ranking people say that it is not actually a luxury, and it would make us lose market. So we have to look at this. We should not forget the good side. On the other hand, the most part of managers, 3 in 4, says that you would lose both reputation and the market. So they say that you would be destroyed, or it would be so difficult to continue. So we need an improvement here. However, positively speaking, we can say that the managers do have this concept. Yes. We're going to focus on 3 different subjects: business ethics, performance, both benchmark and our own company, ESG, and reputation. We're going to look at the relations between these 3. We're not going to get into details, but ESG effect on environment and social issues, there are around 15 criteria. I'm not going to read all of them, but environment management or responsible resource usage, these are one of the criteria. So the companies that are most successful in ESG and most reputable, we did not actually ask the question that way. We asked this question this way: which is the most reputable company in Turkey? And 30% said there is no such company, and 104 people mentioned a company. 10% said one, A, 20% said B. So we asked the question, who actually is the most reputable company in Turkey? So it's about environment effect or social effect of the company. So we forgot about the companies here, and we took the average, and we said that the companies that people actually see most reputable have a certain score in ESG, which creates the benchmark. We asked the same question regarding ESG. We asked which is the company who has the highest ESG performance in Turkey. You can see that 90 people answered among 145, and the rest said there is no such company, which is also very important data. The rest said, A or B, and we took the average as the ESG performance. Let's look at the benchmarks. The benchmark states the ideal, and it shows us what is the high score. So over 100, it can say that you can go to 87 in business ethics. You cannot go to 90, for example. Let's see what they gave for their own company. It's 75%. It should be over 70%. However, if a company is successful in a field, so let's say that they are really successful in reputation, then they will take around between 78 and 87. So the companies which are successful will have to score between 78 to 84. So they also say they have a way to go. And the benchmark is around 90%. So there is actually a gap here, which shows a long way to go. Do you see any differences here at the bottom? Well, no. Women say that the ESG performance are lower. So I do not want to get into details. It looks a bit complex, but it's not. So the people take these 15 criteria for their company. They answer these questions, and we took the correlation here, and we see the ESG's main performance and the company's performance. You can see that we reached a great correlation here. So normally it is difficult to reach a high score when it comes to the correlation. So what excites me here is that people that the companies show high correlation. What does the red mean? The black says the ESG performance is high here, and you can see the performance here. It's quite high. So when these subjects are well managed, then the scores get higher. That's why the companies right now may receive 75%. But for the lower parts, you need a way to go. You need contribution. So when it comes to biovariety and also supply chain management and also stakeholders, this also is valid for the business ethics and ESG. For example, including stakeholders stay behind. So therefore, if we want to be successful, not only your reports, not only your managers and their accountability, but all stakeholders, all your partners and your supplier chains must be included. If you don't do that, then they gave 75% for their own company before. This will not go higher. We asked whether there is actually a relation between ESG and reputation. There is a very strong relation. So it says that if you have a good ESG, your reputation will also be stronger. So if these red areas are improved, then your reputation will also improve. Let's look at business ethics applications. So this was calculated based on 7 dimensions. You see the standard policies, reporting, discipline, and prevention. So these 7 dimensions are valid for business ethics and reputation. And we measured it here. For their own company's business ethics, people said 75%. And the companies that have the highest, the most successful in business ethics is 95, and the rest is around 87. So clearly, the companies that actually seem successful to people show that these companies can actually reach 90%. This shows that, yes, they have actually potential to reach 90%, but the company are at 75%. So where improvement is needed? We look at program effectiveness, price and discipline, training. These have high influence. And performance is a bit low. It's around 71%, 72.3%. and you have to improve these so that you can actually increase the 75%. Reporting, prevention, etc. These kind of dimensions are also well managed, but the red ones must be improved. Otherwise, you will stay in 75% and even go backwards. So let's look at the first rank and the higher ranking. We see that the first ranking gives us a lower score, and the medium and higher ranks give a higher score. Let's talk about reputation management scores here. This is the actually main focus of today. The reputation performance management has 7 dimensions that I have mentioned before, which also includes emotional loyalty. So I would like to give you an information regarding reputation management. Reputation management and its performance it creates 50% of your brand value. So the brand, I'm talking about brand value, not company value, and it also is about brand equity. So it's about reputation management and reputation performance management. So if a company's worth is $100 million, then from your input to your output, you receive 50%, and from your reputation management, you receive 50%. So if you did everything right and you received a full score, then 50 million comes from your reputation performance. If you do not manage it well, if it stays below 70%, then it will go low as 10 million. So you would lose $40 million if you do not manage your reputation well. Therefore, today, reputation is not an abstract thing. It's a very concrete indicator, and today it actually has a direct relation to brand value. So the ESG and reputation has a serious correlation between each other, and the highest reputation you have will increase your brand value. They said 78% for their own company. Reputation is something that they can well analyze. 78% is a score that actually is valid for the companies that are successful in this field. There are 44 sectors here, so 78 is a good score, let's say. However, as I said, it has to be between 78 to 84%. So the most reputable companies receive 91%, and the companies that seem to be the most successful is 89%. And the companies, the average of companies that are seem to be successful in business ethics is 90%. So it means that companies that are successful in ESG and business ethics are also successful in reputation. Let's look at the difference between the medium ranking and the first ranking. The first ranking gives a much lower score, and the others give a higher score. You see in the sub-parameters of this reputation, you see that one of the most important subject is the employees, the issue of employees. The employees field has been going under a scrutiny in Turkey. Let's go to our main score. The reputation performance management for our own company is 78%. And for ESG performance, for the company is 75%, and business ethics 75%. We just showed the slightest differences here. They see their companies much stronger in their reputation, but they think that there is room for improvement on the other fields. The ESG's effect on reputation is around 0.843%. This is extremely high. What does this mean? If you can become more important, more successful in ESG, then you will be more successful in reputation too. A small group agrees with that. And in the business ethics, it's 0.735. This is quite strong too. I have been following up on this. Sustainability is a subject that I have been working on for the past years, and it is very difficult to reach a correlation here. But this says that ESG and business ethics affect the reputation, and if you correctly manage business ethics and ESG, you will also increase your that 75%. That 75% will also increase your reputation, improve your reputation, and this way you will be able to take responsibility against the planet and your employees, and you will also strengthen your brand value. Therefore, ESG and business ethics are extremely important for reputation. Regarding benchmark, we can say that it also has a very strong effect. How many minutes do I have? Did I exceed my time? Well, in a nutshell, regarding the last part of my presentation, I can say that, well, this is a very important subject. We saw the results, and we saw that ESG and business ethics has a huge relations to reputation. So what can be the problems in front of this? You can see here that if actually it is not your priority, if these are not within your notion of management, then you cannot do anything about it. Another problem is the lack of awareness. Well, the managers must know about this, and all your employees must know about it, take the ownership of it, and they have to understand that this is not emotional, but it's about business, and also says that all the stakeholders must acknowledge this. So it says that if you actually acknowledge the philosophy of this and also implement it, then you will reach your target. Here, we can see that what keeps the company from succeeding in that field is also lack of training and awareness. So, if you also have, enough finances, then you will reach your target. Last but not least, departments. I mean, when we ask the question whether the companies have a certain department for this, we see that there is one member of the board that is responsible of ESGs and business ethics. 12% says, I don't know. And when we ask, and those who say that there is actually a department responsible for ethics says that's 64%. And some people say that they don't know. And when we ask them whether there's someone responsible for ethics, 69% says yes. And when we ask them whether these people have different roles, they say yes. They have second or third roles too. And we ask them, what do they do? They have, responsibility regarding law or corporate responsibilities. So if you give these responsibilities to these people, then they will not be able to focus on these fields. When we ask about whether they have a department related to ESG, they say sustainability 40%. And then we can see that this 40% is disseminating. We do not see a clear 60%, but this is more clearer. When we asked whose responsibility is the reputation management, we see that there is also a scattering here. Well, thank you so much for listening to me.